I'm not talking to who you're not about who you are. I'm talking to who you are about who you're not. Because to talk to who you're not about who you are can't go anywhere. But to talk to who you're not about who you are is reinforcing an illusion. You see? It's reinforcing an illusion. That's why if when you sit to meditate, if you continue to maintain the idea that this is going to get you something, you're reinforcing the illusion, right? This isn't going to get you anything. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to get. One of the ways that you can tell that you're waking up is you lose interest in everything that would seem to be useful to get somewhere that can't be gotten to. You lose interest in trying to be what you already are. One of the things that is interesting to notice is that if you pay attention a certain way, and maybe meditation is you could say meditation is attending a certain way, but not you attending a certain way, just attending a certain way. Is the noticing that the person, the identity that we've all been conditioned to consider ourselves to be, can exist without getting generated. That's an interesting thing if you really get it. It cannot exist without being generated because it doesn't actually exist. So how do we generate it? You think about it, right? How do you generate who you are? If I ask you that question, right, what happens? Thinking happens, right? Because one of the questions that people ask from time to time is how do I, if there is no thinker of thoughts, okay? If there is no thinker of thoughts, if in reality the voice in your head is not you, right? So there is no thinker of thoughts, right? Then how do I know what thoughts are useful and realistic and which thoughts are not useful and unrealistic and just more suffering and a waste of energy, right? How do I know, right? But you see, watch. Look at the question, how do I know? Right? The identity comes in and captures it again, right? The identity claims it again, right? But then the question is still a valid question, right? Because thinking is a way of being, is it not? Thinking is a way of being, and thinking is used to function. Yet is it not? Right? And so there are irrational thoughts, there are stupid thoughts, there are practical thoughts, right? But the thing is this: the thinking. Right? The thinking, if there is no thinker of the thoughts, right? The thinking itself thinks what it thinks. Do you follow me? The thinking itself thinks what it thinks. It's just thinking. It's like being. It's like seeing. There's no seer, all there is seeing. All there is a verb. All there is what's happening. And our conditioning has us add to that, it's happening to me. But all there is what's happening, right? So all there is thinking. There is no thinker. Now, now, if you consider yourself to be the thinker of your thoughts, right? Now there is a process of being the thinker of your thoughts that has you identify with certain thoughts and see, like that, right? But without there being a thinker of thoughts, and therefore the awareness is present, there's presence, right? The awareness is there, right? That informs thinking. Do you follow what I'm saying? It informs the thinking. So now the thinking itself thinks thoughts itself that are practical or not practical. And it's a direct awareness of that, rather than there being a thinker of the thoughts. If there's a thinker of the thoughts, then you analyze your thoughts, you try and figure out, try and change your thoughts and all that stuff, right? Awareness is thoughts, not has thoughts. Awareness is thoughts. You don't have a life, you are life. You don't see things, you are seeing. Seeing is what you are. Do you see what I'm saying? But what happens is that the conditioning keeps adding the noun, right? There's the verb, and the conditioning keeps adding the noun. They're seeing, and that implies that there is a noun. There's a me that sees, like that. And that's what keeps running, right? And that's one of the reasons why that the awareness allows for the recognition of what it's not. Right? When you get, as Paul says, when you get a free pass, or you get a hit, or you get a sense of yourself, that's what makes the whole thing interesting, is that all of us, see, you wouldn't be here if in some way, shape, or form you didn't have somewhere, somehow, a sense of yourself. Whether that happened in a moment and then stopped, or, Jerry, you mentioned it, right? One day you were walking across the street, right? And so when that happens, it's like you get this bang of reality, right? Everything opens up and is seen, Brad Werner talks about it the day when he was walking to work, and all of a sudden, everything was perfect. There wasn't any question about anything. There was nothing wrong. Nothing was going anywhere. Everything was just perfect. It's inexplicable, It's just like that, right? And then it closes back down, right? And so when it closes back down, all that need be is from that point forward to recognize that what happened when it closed back down, right, was who you're not came back into through thought. It's like when somebody has an epiphany or an enlightenment experience, right? And they're having that experience, and they say, "Oh, wow, man, this is great," and that's the end of it, right? That the identity claimed it. That happened. That epiphany happened to me, right? And so this is an ongoing reality that, as I have said here, will not stop playing. The identity, the self-image must continue as long as you are in the play, as Shakespeare would say, The self-image must continue. But it doesn't amount to anything. It's not real. And you can exist with that being obvious. That's presence. To be present means to be present to what's not, to know what you're not. It can really save you a lot of energy and a lot of trouble and a lot of money and a lot of lawyers' fees and all kinds of things, right? When you kind of break free from the clouds and you see the way it is, it's like, oh shit. It's always, nothing's ever really happened. This is all a dream. This was all something a mirage that seems so real, right? So that's the deal. And, when I was thinking earlier that if somebody came in here tonight that was new, they'd probably never come back. I mean, when we did the meditation, right? I said, "Oh, let's do a practice," and I rang the bell, right? They'd probably be sitting there saying, "What the hell is this?" You see what I'm saying? Right? Because people who are new to meditation, that's the person wanting to meditate. Right? That's the person wanting to meditate. And so when we used to do the guided meditations, right? That's a concession that the person leading it is talking to the person meditating, right? But you can't not do that, right? Because if somebody did come in here and we did do that, I wouldn't blame them for not coming back. they'd go to the people that run this and say, I went to a meditation class and they rang a bell and we sat there and then they rang a bell and we were done. Where's the meditation? But you see, can you see that for you, can you see the difference? That for you, that you guys have been around this stuff long enough to know that meditation is nothing other than presence. It's just presence. It's just being here. It's just being here, and it's not being here as you. It's just being here. It's just the awareness itself. It is the verb of being. It's the verb of being. It's not something you do. It's something that's happening, and it's always happening, and you're that. You are what's happening. You are what's happening. Okay. I've shot off enough.